views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Cherry Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll learn about a new documentary focusing on the life of spiritual teacher, Guru Enlightment. We'll learn about her teachings and the different ways she's been able to help people with their spiritual journey. After that, we find out about Precones PRTT's collaboration with Harlem 9 for the 4th edition of 48 Hours in El Bronx being presented in digital form. Then we speak to fashion designer Javier G. Campos about the inspiration behind his clothing brand, Bendición. And later on in the show, Bobby C brings us the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight shines on Cuban Master Percussionist Pedrito Martínez, who tells us more about his upcoming album, Acertijos, followed by a special performance at the end of the show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome back to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. Let's connect. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So Fania Records co-founder Johnny Pacheco, he passed away at the age of 85. The legendary musician, arranger, and producer passed away after being admitted into the hospital a few days for pneumonia. Pacheco was the man most responsible for the genre of salsa music. He was a visionary, and his music will live on eternally. Rest in power, King Johnny Pacheco. Our first guest, her favorite quote, "Don't believe in what I say, believe in what you see," is now a new documentary on Amazon Prime, showcasing the life teachings and journey of Guru Enlightment, who shares intimate information about her relations to spirits and how, as a spiritual teacher, she's been able to help her students find their freedom and independence, and most importantly, life's purpose. Joining us to share more about the documentary and her teachings, please welcome Guru Enlightment and director of the film, Glennis Javier. Hello.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, bravo. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Truly, a love letter of your legacy. I really enjoyed watching it on Amazon Prime, and I just want to acknowledge you for sharing your wisdom on such a global level, and Glennis for making it her business to make sure your legacy has been documented on such a platform. So congratulations to you both.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So here's the thing. I would love to talk about the film, but I really want people to go see the film. And really what I'd like to embark on is just the reality that we're living in right now, in almost forcing us all to kind of check that aspect of our existence. And so what you've provided in some aspect is just a means of people catching up to where we are.
Right. I agree. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. And so I'm just opening it up because everybody's being forced to kind of go inside. And you've been inside for so many years in the sense of having this connection. And the way you've shared it, you know, it's very mystical. And so I just wanted to know, like, what is it about it that you really want people to leave with?
I want people to leave with knowing that they have a purpose and that they matter in this world. And I want them to wake up to reality. You know, we live in such an illusion world, and it's comfortable for us to be there. And we believe everything that is told to us, and we don't believe the truth within ourselves. So I feel like people need to believe in themselves more than believe what's out there and what they hear from out there. And I would like them to wake up and take a chance and try something new and different. And it's not going to hurt them to do that. You know what I'm saying?
And so Glenys, as not only being one of the directors and the producer and the editor of this magnificence of a documentary honoring your master, your teacher, coming in from the perspective of producing it as well as being a student, what was your motivation behind this documentation?
My motivation was that I wanted to share my teacher with the world. She has helped me with everything in my life, and she has helped everyone that I have connected her to. Like I've shared her with many people, and they've come to see her. They stayed as a student, and it's helped them as well. So it's like when you have a great martial art teacher you want to share with the world, and you always keep on, you know, like learning and growing. So I want the world to see what her students see and why we love her so much and why we have succeeded in our journey and are still succeeding. So that's what I want. I want the world to see what we see.
That's beautiful. I love that you have a unit that kind of like mobilizes all of her teachings, right? I know there's books involved, there's adult books, there's also children's books. And so now there's this new documentary. And so in some aspect, it's a wonderful accomplishment for her, but it's an accomplishment for you, for all of you as well. So I really want to share with our audience what that means to all of you. Just in the keeping the faith and just operating as a unit and making it your business to make sure that it's accessible to other people.
Right. And she always helps us to accomplish our dreams. And we love helping her to accomplish her dreams. So she wanted to become a writer, and we helped her with the whole getting her books out there. She didn't really like to be in the spotlight, but we somehow pushed her, and she agreed for us to film all her workshops. And now we're in the Bronx network and the MNN as well. And also with the documentary. So it's like she teaches us, and then she also says she learns from her students. So it's like, it is a give and take, but I'm very happy to help her with her dreams as well when it comes to what she loves to do.
So Guru, how difficult was that for you to be so vulnerable in your communication throughout this doc? You shared a lot of intimate information that I was like, oh, wow, she really went there. In just learning about your journey, you know, about your son's passing, about your explorations, your, you know, your Catholic school stories, all of the trials and tribulations that you had to endure to get to where you are now. How difficult was that for you to share with the exact people that you're teaching?
Not difficult at all. I believe in honesty, and I believe in truth, and this is who I am. I never tried to be something that I'm not. What you saw in the documentary is what my students already knew about me. You know, like depending on the circumstances of their story, I would share mine. So I feel very free. There's no shame in my life. I'm proud of my life. I'm proud of the way that it went. I want my students to know that the truth sets you free, and it's not about being accepted by the world. It's about being accepted by you, who you are, and be happy with who you are and what you have accomplished from this moment on.
And so I have a question with regards to all the adversity that you shared within the doc. Do you find that adversity heightens a person's spiritual awareness?
Adversity.
What can you explain, like, exactly?
So, like, all right, do you find that in order to really heighten your spiritual consciousness, you have to go through something really bad? And because you shared a lot of variations of adversity throughout the documentary. And so in what you shared, I started wondering, I was like, I wonder, are people who suffer the most the ones that become more spiritual?
No, not at all. It you know, it's been told that that's it, but no, I feel that everybody has a different journey. There's people that have not gone through so much tribulation and have become spiritual. You know what I'm saying? I think it depends on the journey that you are meant to take to learn lessons. Unfortunately, things happen to people to wake them up, and others don't. But my journey started from the moment that I stepped out of my mother's womb. And that was my journey, my personal journey, but not that you have to suffer and go through so much tribulation to become spiritual. No, not at all.
And so, Glennies, how do you define spirituality?
Freedom.
Nice.
Freedom, independence, knowing yourself, loving yourself, valuing yourself as a human being, and also knowing that you have a purpose. It's not about believing in anything or everything. It's about believing in yourself. That, to me, is spirituality. Being comfortable with yourself, doing what you love, and being a good human being. That's for sure. So spirituality, like I said, is not about what you believe in. It's about believing in yourself. So that's why it's not about you going through something big to be spiritual. It's just about living in general. Spirituality is about living an experience. So
yeah, and if you don't mind me, piggybacking out of her. The thing, like I tell my students, I'm not going to be here for the rest of my life. So you're not here to depend on me. You're here to depend on yourself and do for yourself.
I'm going to depend on her forever.
And that's one of the things that I teach my students, you know. And I also want to just say that I also have
a podcast.
The podcast also.
Yeah, podcast.
So, we'll share the podcast before we go. Where can people listen to it?
It's actually on Anchor. If you go to her website, guruenlightment.com, you'll find everything. The podcast, the books, the documentary, the Unknown web series that she created, everything. So it's everything there.
Yeah. And on a personal note, I want to say thank you and acknowledge you for providing me with mirror exercises and making it my business to just take a really good look deep down inside, just to become more familiar with who I am as a being.
Thank you. And that's beautiful that you said that, because I think that everybody needs to find themselves, you know, and get to know themselves, because that's the only person that's really going to be there for you is you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh,
I also want to share that I like the fact that Guru always says that she's not the truth, that we are all our own truths. So if we go ahead and look for that truth, that's when we start to become free, which leads up to being spiritual.
Exactly. And it also leads into the title of this wonderful documentary. Thank you both for being here with us here on Open BxRx. And once again, you guys, don't believe in what I say, believe in what you see, is available on Amazon Prime. And for more information, all her books and her podcasts, you can visit guruenlightment.com. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll find out about an annual showcase featuring theater artists. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back. So this year, Pregones PRTT and Harlem 9, and well, they're going global and digital for its 4th edition of 48 Hours in El Bronx. The collaborative showcase will feature 30 Latinx theater artists creating 6 new plays inspired by iconic images from acclaimed photographers known as Seis del Sur. Let's take a sneak peek of 48 Hours in El Bronx.
How can we dance salsa virtually? How have we lived the past year virtually?
Don't go outside ever.
No, I'm not saying don't go outside ever.
You've never had her dentures thrown at you.
Shut up.
Don't!
Your fish died, Carmen.
Seriously?
We ain't white.
Come nene. Pura mierda.
No te creas.
You can put your foot down your mouth.
You can make your way to the door to the Bronx.
Trying the divine can lead to unexpected results.
And joining us to tell us more about the digital presentation of 48 Hours in the Bronx, currently streaming, please welcome Pregones PRTT Associate Artistic Director, Jorge Merced.
Hi, everyone. It's always such a pleasure and such a joy to be here with Rhina and with all of you. It's one of my favorite spots to talk about art and talk about culture. Besides, you get to see all the colors that are Rhina Valentin right there in the screen. How can you go wrong? But thank you for having us. We're so proud and so honored to be able to share the work about this artist who created 6 short plays about the Bronx, and it doesn't get any better than that. And that happened in the Bronx, so that's really cool.
Okay, so I know we were a day later, right? Because it launched on Thursday, but it's all good. It's all good. They still have from Friday till Monday to view the streaming. Now, I do want to open up with saying that this whole process is normally 48 hours, but this time around, you have to expand it un poquito because you had to digitize it, right? So, en realidad, it should be called the 96 hours.
And what a joy to spend 96 hours in the Bronx as opposed to 48 hours. The more time we spend in the Bronx, the better we are, right, people? So yeah, we had to change it. We had to
process because you had
sure.
like Nico, because I can only imagine. God, I'm all ears.
So when we were set to start this when the pandemic hit last year. All the artists have been chosen, everybody was ready, and the week we were supposed to gather in the Bronx to create the 48 hours, that's when everything was shut down. That's when the whole city went into hibernation. And we were like, wow, what do we do? So we waited. We were like, let's see what happens. We were not that well versed yet with ways in which we could bring all these 30 different artists together into one room. And we also were very, the idea of having all these artists in our theater in the South Bronx all together for 48 hours together, it's a very special event. We call it like the Olympics of theater, where people just do their best and they don't sleep, they just stay there to create those plays. And we said, let's just see if we can come back to that moment. But then as the pandemic went on, we were like, no, we have these artists here who are ready to create these amazing stories. And we said, I sat down with our colleagues from Harlem 9, which we've been working with them for, this is the 4th installment of 48 Hours in the Bronx. And we all agreed that this was the time to do it. And so we just turned the switch back on again and said, let's do it. And but we had to adjust, like you say, Rhina, a little, un poquito aquí allá, because we knew that theater is the center of the project, but in order for us to convey theater in a way that is a little bit closer to the way that you would see it in person, we couldn't do it in just 48 hours because you had to film it, you had to edit it, but the plays were created in 48 hours. That didn't change. What we did is that we added an additional 48 hours for the directors to work with an editor to really bring all the footage that they brought together in those first 48 hours to come back and edit it in a way that is enjoyable and it's fun. And I'm really happy with where the process is right now. And it was really great, but we did switch it a little bit for the digital platform. We added an additional 48 hours.
But I like that you went with 48 and 48. So there's still honor there with using the term 48 hours.
Totally. I'm even wearing my 48 Hours in the Bronx t-shirt right there.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. I love the logo. So listen, let's talk a little bit about how you choose the subject matters, because this year you chose images from Angel Franco, Francisco Molina Reyes, Joe Canzo, Ricky Flores, David Gonzalez, Edwin Pagan, and you chose iconic images in which playwrights were to develop a story around, and then directors go and direct these actors, and all of this is happening within 48 hours.
I know, it's great, right? It's exciting. We began, that's one of the things that falls on my area, which is choosing the subject matter for each year that we do this. Choosing the prompts for the artists to create their plays. And last installment of 48 Hours in the Bronx, we tested a little bit with photography. What we did is that we selected several Bronx subway stations, and each one we selected a photo and a poem for that particular station. And that became the inspiration for the 6 plays that were created. And I saw how inspiring working with photos are for the playwrights and for the directors. So this year I was like, let's highlight a Bronx photography collective that has been getting all these accolades around the world called Seis del Sur. And you mentioned the names of all these amazing photographers, David, Joe, Angel, Ricky, Francisco, and Edwin Pagan, our dear friend Eddie Pagan. And I asked them, I said, we're gonna go forward with what we planned, but I'd like you to choose a photo that you feel is an iconic photo of your collection, and that depicts what the Bronx is for you and your connection with the Bronx. So they gave me a whole bunch. Some of them selected one, and some of them gave me like 4 or 5. I'm like, oh my gosh, I asked you to do this. But then when they sent me all that material, I was completely blown away by the images and the photos that they sent. And so we gathered as much information as we could about those photos and created a document that we gave to the artists and said, this is your inspiration. But the trick is that the artists and the playwrights don't know which image or which team of artists they're going to work with until that first 2 hours of those 48 hours. They don't know. They came into this Zoom room. We gave them before in advance, like 2 weeks in advance. This is what we're going to be dividing. So some of them were a bit prepared, and then we divide into companies. So it's like literally a hat on Zoom where the names are in there, and people would just took the names out. And we assigned a playwright and a director to each team. And then we said, now let's see what you're going to be working with. And that's when we let them know, by chance, out of a hat, what photograph they were going to be working with. And from that moment on, they had 48 hours to write the play, to rehearse it, and to stage it. And then we added another 48 hours for the editing and all that other process and filming. But it was exciting to see that happening. It's true that the audience never sees this. The audience never sees the dynamics and the energy backstage during those 48 hours. And it's really amazing. So I missed that. But for those watching it, you're going to get amazing plays about the book written right now.
Well, we did give them a little sneak peek at the top of this segment, and I do want to say thank you to you for taking the time to bring it to us, and also for your undying commitment to making sure that theater is presented in people's homes. Of course, highlighting the stories, or our stories, I should say, of the Bronx as well as people of color. So I love that you also partnered up with Harlem 9, which is predominantly African American.
Yeah, this is an amazing group of colleagues. They're like family for us now. We've been working together for almost 6 years now, and creating this events that celebrate that union, that conversation between people of color. And for us, it was really important that we maintain that relationship and we continue to nurture that relationship between the two organizations, because we believe in them. I think we have to stick together to tell our own stories, as opposed to expect those with resources to really talk about things that only those of us that are intimately connected to our communities understand. And Harlem 9 is one of those organizations that, like Pregones PRTT, is committed to giving voice to that particular participation in society, which is that comes out of people of color. And the plays that resulted in this particular edition of 48 Hours in the Bronx truly, truly address all of that. They're very different, each one of them. Once you get a ticket, you can watch the plays anytime you want within that, from the moment you buy it and until the 22nd, I believe.
I think it's the 20. Yes, it is the 22nd.
22nd of February. So you can watch it like at night, or you can just watch one play and say, you know what, that was too rough, or that was too much, and my heart needs to breathe. So you can pause and come back to it another, later in the night. None of the plays are gonna give you that. You're gonna enjoy. They're really funny. You're gonna have a lot of fun. But it's a great process where you determine when you want to watch it, how you want to watch them, whether you want to watch them with your family or by yourself. But you can only watch them during that time between Thursday, which is yesterday, and Monday.
And Monday. Awesome. I love it. I love it. And I can't stress enough, you guys, it's important for us to support our local artists, our local theater, our local stories. So I highly recommend that you do get tickets. And although the streaming already started, it doesn't matter. It's still available to you guys. Thank you, Jorge Meset, Pregones PRTT, Associate Artistic Director, for bringing it to us. And you guys, once again, to watch 48 Hours in El Bronx. It's streaming now, but it can be found on harlem9.veeps.com from February 18th, which it already started, till February 22nd. And you can also visit Pregones, PRTT.org. All right.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. And you can see them there, and you're going to get to see an amazing roster of artists. The playwrights this year are fantastic. Julissa Contreras, Nelson Díaz Marcano, Aisha Espinosa, Andrés Osorio, Alejandra Ramos Riera, Andrew Rincon. And the directors are amazing. And it's great for you to get to know the work that these artists are creating during this time. This is really difficult. So I know you're going to enjoy 48 Hours in the Bronx 2021.
All right. Well, so much for wrapping up, because the director wants to make sure that he gets the last word. Gracias, Jorge. Me te quiero mucho. Mwah. All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to hear how one fashion designer turned one blessing into another blessing for others. Don't go anywhere. Hey, everyone, and welcome back. Our next guest is a Bronx, New Yorican native that was blessed with a second chance to change his life and inspire others through his clothing brand, Bendición. The urban couture line features streetwear artistic expressions inspired by the Bronx with the infused flavor of Latinx culture, and was recently featured in New York City's 2021 Fashion Week. Joining us to tell us the inspiration and meaning behind the Bendición clothing brand, please welcome fashion designer and founder, Javier G. Campos. Hello and welcome.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Or should I be saying to you, Bendición?
Bendición, que Dios te bendiga. I love that exchange, and it's so important. It's so meaningful. I mean, growing up in a Puerto Rican household, you know, those are the first words that come out of my mouth every time I come in the house and I greet my mother, and just the love and the exchange that is given in return. As far as I say Bendición and she says que Dios te bendiga, we all can relate to that in the Latino community, especially in the Bronx, all the Boricuas and all the Puerto Ricans. We can relate to that exchange.
And for our non-Latino viewers, let's just translate what Bendición means in English.
So Bendición simply means blessings in English.
And then the response normally when we say Bendición, I grew up also using the term, this is almost like a cultural exchange of acknowledgement. Instead of saying hello, we say Bendición, and then the response usually is coming from an elder, and they say, que Dios te bendiga, which is, may God bless you. And so he's obviously turned this into a brand, and as you can see, he's wearing a hoodie that says Bendición, and obviously he's basically branding the word blessing in Spanish based on his own blessings. And I would love if you could just share with everyone, Javier, a little bit of your background, because your story is very inspirational, and I would love our viewers to get to know you.
Absolutely. So part of my inspiration for the brand, of course, is my personal story that ties into some of the struggles and some of the difficulties that I've been through in my personal life, and some of the failures and some of the poor decisions that I made growing up, and just taking me in different directions in life and creating unfortunate experiences for me and the whole.
And so, let's just come out and say it, right? You were incarcerated, and during your incarceration, somehow, through the graces, you were able to flip your charges, right? I believe you were incarcerated, or you were sentenced to a life sentence or something, right?
Yes, absolutely. We got sentenced to an extreme amount of time, and it was a whole growing experience being in the penitentiary, but we kept the faith, we kept the belief in the Bendición. And I think that's why Bendición carries over, and it has such a powerful impact on me, because the whole time during my incarceration, I believed that I was blessed. And by me believing that I was blessed, it gave me the empowerment to endure the tribulations and the trials and the hardship. And it sparked me to go ahead and to be proactive about my case and go into the law library, research these laws and overturn these sentences that were imposed upon me that could have possibly left me in prison for a longer time than expected, possibly a lifetime. And so, yes.
Right. And so how old were you? Just because I want to share with our viewers just the blessings that are behind your brand and where you are now and how you were able to just transform yourself just by making it your business to invest in yourself, because that's what you did. You went and you took the time and you invested in researching and investigating further. And look, now here you are, a fashion designer with a brand that says blessings.
Yes. So I was 20, I was in my mid 20s. At the time I was about 24, 25 when I first caught my state case in New York City. And from there, I got sentenced to a 20-year sentence that would have had me, you know, in prison to my late 40s, mid 40s. And my release date was originally scheduled for 2020, which was last year. And by the grace of God, I was blessed and I was able to come out 10 years before that. So I got a head start. So that was my second chance. And with that second chance, I just want to use it as a reminder and to inspire and to instill hope in others that regardless to what mistakes you make in life, regardless to what turns you make in life, you can always turn things around if you keep the faith and you do your homework and you do some research.
Right, of course, you have to be in action. And congratulations on actually releasing during New York Fashion Week. That's exciting.
Thank you very much.
Oh gosh, and so before we go, I mean, of course, we're going to tell everybody where they can obtain the brand itself online, but I wanted to share with everyone this prototype that you have on alongside, right? I understand that the world being used as a head or a face is the brand logo, and so you started sharing that you're considering creating a muñequito, which is a doll.
Yes. So this is compelling in one way because it's a muñequito, it's a doll, or, you know, it could be a figura, however you want to use it, but it doesn't have a face. It doesn't have the face of a person, which takes away from nationalities, takes away from race, and it takes away from division. So there's no gender category, there's no nationalistic tie to it. In fact, it ties in all nationalities, it ties the whole world because it represents the whole world. And that's what we want Bendición to represent. Even though it has its roots in the Bronx, it has its roots in Latino culture, we want it to represent the global community and the whole entire human family.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Especially during this particular time. I think this is a time where just based on all of us enduring this global pandemic has definitely shed light on how much more alike we are than we are different.
Yes, indeed. I totally agree. Yes.
And so before we go, what do you want to leave everyone with regards to both the apparel that's available as well as the prototype that you just shared with us?
The apparel is available at Bendición, BxNY.com. That's the website. And it's also available at FlyingSoloNYC.com. And as far as my message to the people out in the world is that, you know, continue to have faith, continue to have hope, believe in yourself, believe in your dreams. Things can happen if you put the right efforts and if your endeavors are in line with what's righteous and you're trying to do good and you're trying to do good for yourself and restore the love and the peace that the world needs. You know, the things that have been shattered and broken within the last few years, especially last year being a very challenging one for all of us due to the pandemic. You know, we want to restore love, we want to restore peace, and we want to restore harmony among the human families. And that's my message for the world.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for bringing it here to our viewers on Open. Javier G. Campos, fashion designer and founder of the Bendición gear. Once again, you guys can find the Bendición gear at Instagram at Bendición BxNY and also on Twitter at Bendición BXY. And don't go anywhere because Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Good morning, sports fans. What a week in sports it has been. Spring training opened this week with many teams getting back to business on Wednesday. Pitchers and catchers reporting for duty. The pandemic shortened the campaign last year, but we'll try and play all 162 games this time around. We caught up with New Mets catcher James McCann on the wealth of talent in the National League East.
The NL East is no joke. You look at the types of players on every team and then the teams that have been assembled. It's a very tough division. And, I really like our team here. I think that the moves that were made this offseason to pair with what was already here in-house, I think exciting times are ahead, and I really look forward to competing with all my new teammates.
Here's Mets acting general manager Zach Scott on the importance of pitching depth and building a roster.
When my years with the Red Sox were the fastest way for your season to go sideways or backwards is to have, not have quality pitching depth or to have too many injuries there. You always have to expect some level of injuries there. So increasing our depth is always something that I think we'll be pursuing.
The team agreed to terms on Monday on a one-year deal with Kevin Pillar, an historically strong defender who is coming off his best year as a hitter. Pillar won't necessarily be an everyday starter for the Mets, but his presence gives the team an option, moving, let's say, Brandon Nimmo to left, at least on occasion, to improve their defense in 2 spots. The Yankees also tweaked their roster. The Bombers inked left-handed reliever Justin Wilson. The 33-year-old reunites with the Pinstripers and will move across the East River to the Bronx after pitching with the Mets in each of the past 2 seasons. The 10th-year Southpaw compiled a 2.91 ERA, 26.6% strikeout rate, and 4 saves in his 2 seasons in Queens. The club also signs former Met Jay Bruce, who recently played with the Philadelphia Phillies. The outfielder and first baseman signs a minor league contract and will try to win a job at the big league level at big league spring training. The 33-year-old has an opportunity as a left-handed bat in a primarily right-handed hitting lineup for the Yankees outfield, which features switch hitter, center fielder Aaron Hicks, and of course the right-handed hitting power hitter right fielder Aaron Judge. Fangraphs baseball postseason odds have the Yanks as the best in the American League, with the LA Dodgers and San Diego Padres 1 and 2 respectively in the majors. The Mets are 3rd best in the National League. You just don't want to be the Baltimore Orioles on this graph, folks. Yikes. We shift gears to the basketball hardwood, where the New York Liberty are putting together an impressive offseason. The team has acquired 3-time WNBA champion Natasha Howard and 2-time champion Sammy Whitecomb from the Seattle Storm in separate trade transactions. The WNBA's 2019 Defensive Player of the Year, the 29-year-old Howard is a 6'2" forward who is entering her 8th WNBA season. Howard won her first WNBA championship in 2017 alongside Liberty head coach Walt Hopkins in Minnesota. During her 3-year tenure with the Seattle Storm, Howard secured 2 additional titles, one in 2018 and then, of course, last season with Seattle. Here's Howard on her new championship leadership role with the Liberty.
My experience, just bringing that to the table, bringing like Sabrina underneath my wings, the 2 years players underneath my wings, and also Sammy can do the same thing too as well. Lainey, just us 3 just being the veterans on the team, we could actually guide the young players and stuff, and you show them what hard work looks like.
Bringing Natasha on, in addition to Sammy and Benaja, and getting Beck back and Sabrina back, we can really do some things defensively now where it's not going to take an extremely long amount of time to teach switches and to teach how you rotate on the backside in a switch.
Good chance the Liberty get even better before the season starts too. The team currently holds the 6th, 25th, and 29th picks in the 2021 WNBA draft. The Orange and Blue won once again Monday night, getting 44 points from Julius Randle. By scoring more than 40 points, Randle broke a streak of 183 games in which the Knicks did not have a 40-point score. That was the longest active streak in the NBA. Randle's 44 points tops his previous high with the Knicks of 35. Can you say all-star? Speaking of all-stars and all-star performances, how about the Brooklyn Nets, who are gelling at the right time? James Harden's MVP caliber performance led the Nets to arguably their greatest comeback in team history Tuesday night. The Big Three have been reduced to the bearded one. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were both out. And with the Nets getting blown out by the Phoenix Suns in the second leg of a back-to-back set, Harden could have easily mailed it in, except he didn't. Harden carried the Nets back from a 21-point halftime deficit, and they escaped Phoenix with an incredible 128-124 victory over the Suns. It marked the largest halftime deficit the team has ever overcome in its NBA history. Here's James Harden.
One man, two men go down, next man up. And tonight was a perfect example of that. Got down 20-something at halftime, and we didn't give up. We didn't quit. We kept fighting and cut the deficit down and kept fighting and give ourselves a chance to win at the end of the game. And things went our way.
The race to an NBA champion is on. The race to crown a Daytona 500 winner is complete. I said last week on the show, look out for an underdog. We may not have tabbed the right one, but the idea did come to fruition on race day. A 100-to-1 underdog when the race began Sunday afternoon. Michael McDowell won for the first time in 358 Cup starts when the checkered flag finally flew about 15 minutes after midnight. The race was stopped by rain for almost 6 hours and ended 9 hours after the green flag waved at Daytona International Speedway in Florida. The Daytona 500 ends with a massive last lap crash that wiped away leader Joey Logano. In the middle of this big wreck on the final lap, McDowell found victory lane.
To get my first Cup win at Daytona, it's unbelievable. I'm just so thankful for everybody that just has allowed me to do it. It's not been an easy road, and there's been lots of years where I was wondering what the heck am I doing and why am I doing it? And I always knew that if you just kept grinding that, one day everything will line up and it'll go right.
Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. Elijah Buchanan of Manhattan has been named Player of the Week by the Met Basketball Writers Association. A 6'5" junior forward from the Bronx, Buchanan was also named Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Player of the Week. He averaged 20.5 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 1.5 blocks in helping the Jaspers earn a split of 2 games at Iona. Dee Davis of Manhattan also takes home Player of the Week honors on the women's side, a 5'8" junior guard from the Bronx. Davis averaged a team-best 18.5 points with 4 rebounds and leading the Jaspers to a 2-game sweep at Iona. She shot 46.7% from distance. Wow. Nice performances from the 2 young BX stars. Fordham Athletics takes a pause for 2 weeks. The campus has reached the threshold level for COVID-19 cases. The men's and women's basketball programs are hoping to return to action in early March in time for the A10 tournaments. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for a look inside a dynamic move by the Yankees that has nothing to do with a signing or trade on the baseball diamond. The Yankees continue to make strides in the Bronx. The team announces the creation of the New York Yankees Diversity and Inclusion Committee to identify, engage, and address issues related to equality, racial justice, and inclusivity. The formalization of this committee took place in September and is the result of an extended period of planning and collaboration with community leaders and within the Yankees organization to determine the appropriate framework for imparting meaningful and long-lasting change. 5 major pillars of focus will shape the committee's efforts: diversity and inclusion within the Yankees organization, education, socioeconomic development, social responsibility, and of course, health and wellness. Activation initiatives have have already begun, and they include the historic Yankees City University of New York Partnership Program. Its creation is predicated on identifying and exposing CUNY students and alumni to career paths, employment, and business opportunities throughout the organization. This relationship between the Yankees and CUNY, the largest urban university system in the United States, will also include direct immersion into the Yankees sports management mentoring program. Let's play ball. More progress here in the BX. Kudos to the Yankees. That's your sports. Tune in Monday morning as we sit down with Harvey Araton of the New York Times to talk Knicks and his latest book. I'm Bobby C. More Open back after this.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Our last guest is a master percussionist from Havana, Cuba, whose musical career started at the early age of 11 and has recorded with some musical greats, including Bruce Springsteen, Eddie Palmieri, Elton John, and that's just to name a few. And he's also contributed to well over 100 albums. And he's here to discuss his upcoming album release, Acertijos, Riddles, featuring Eric Clapton, Gilberto Santa Rosa, and Isaac Delgado. Please welcome Master Percussionist Pedrito Martínez.
Hello. Thanks a lot for having me. It's a big honor for me. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you.
I just am in awe over the fact that you're featuring these artists that obviously come with their own eclectic sounds. So let's talk about why you chose to produce this over a pandemic. Let's start there.
I mean, I'm extremely excited that people been waiting for something new from me for such a long time, because the last record I put out was like more than 2 years ago. So I think that this period, the pandemic situation is a good time because people need some love in their homes. They really need someone to come out with an album that changed their perspective of the whole situation right now. You know, I want to bring some happiness to people all over the world with this album, and I think we accomplished all those things because I have so many different genres of music from different cultures all over the world, and also all the special guests I have, they came from different countries, and I think it makes a the diversity and the authenticity of the originality and the originality of the songs made this album very, very cool for this period of time that, you know, we are living in a very uncertainly time, and people are suffering so much. So my purpose is to bring some joy to people's houses.
It's beautiful, and I love what you were saying with regards to the eclectic sounds, which also lends itself to just exercising inclusivity, and then there's you coming from this folkloric background of being your foundation and being one of the tops out there in the jazz world, and then now working with rather from what I understand you've been friends with Eric Clapton for a while, but I'm just curious to know like why you chose the artists that you chose to be featured on certain songs.
I mean, when I was composing and doing the arrangement with the piano player, which is one of the key person that helped me to do all the arrangements, I had in mind all the time, you know, such a long time ago, I had in mind to have Eric Clapton as a special guest in one of my albums. And we talk about that many times, that he was extremely busy and, you know, it was not, the time didn't came.
Right.
So I was desperately waiting for this moment to come. And then I was in Europe, and I sent a nice email to Eric and say, Eric, I think this is the right time for you to be in one of my albums. Do you think that can be possible? And he said yes, and he bought a ticket for me to go to London. He put me in a beautiful hotel. He paid for the studio.
Wow.
And he did 3 songs. I was expecting him to play one song. He said, no, come on, I want to play your album. So we did 3 songs in the studio with him. It was like a dream come true, and he blew my mind. It was like I was not expecting that. It was beautiful, beautiful.
Wow, I'm excited for you. I felt your whole your essence in that experience, just in the way you described.
Oh my God, it was, you know, it's a unique experience. I mean, it's Eric Clapton, someone who's very famous. It's an icon, and we are great friends, but you know, there's some limits when you're asking a friend for a favor. So he was so nice and kind, and he put the album in another level. It's like beautiful. It was amazing experience.
Right. Oh my gosh. So let's just share with everyone what they can expect listening to this album, right? Because we have Eric Clapton in 3, you have Gilberto Santa Rosa, and then you have Delgado.
Isa Delgado, number 5.
Yes. So that sounds like different kind of music to me.
Yeah. I mean, this album was structured in a way that each song has its own identity, but always around the Afro-Cuban legacy, Afro-Cuban rhythms. That's what I've been defending, and that's my mission. I've been doing that for many years, and on number 1, where I invite Eric Clapton, and the arranger was Dagoberto Gonzalez Jr., a great composer and songwriter from Cuba. He did the strings arrangement. So I was trying to include some classical music, which, you know, we have a big influence from classical music too, and also the mix with the Afro-Cuban on the same song. And then when Eric Clapton added the guitar, was like the jazz, the blues right there. So the first song, Aumba, is a mix of all those sounds. You know, it came out beautiful. I really loved it. And having Gilberto Santa Rosa, which is one of the most relevant figure in Latin world, is like another dream come true. You know, I know music, Gilberto Santa Rosa music for such a long time, and I've been big fan of him for many years. So he was very kind too. I said, Maestro, I need you on my album. And he said, I'll be there, man.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful,
I'm so excited.
Amazing.
I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. So I know it's being released in March, right?
March 19.
March 19, 2021, everyone. And that's going to be available worldwide through all streaming. But the beauty of what he's decided to do, which I find extremely fascinating, is he's also producing a limited vinyl version of it in CDs, right?
Oh my God.
Nobody does that anymore. I think that's so awesome that you're doing that.
I mean, you know, vintage clothes is beautiful. You know, sometimes you go to the store and you say, wow, what is that? It looks old. You say, you know, that's like 40 years old. It's a beautiful outfit. So I think that everything is a cycle in life. And you know, sometimes you need to go back to roots. You need to go back to old school. And I grew up listening to vinyl in my house. You know, my cousin teach me how to dance contemporary Cuban music, listening vinyl records. So, I mean, it's beautiful. And also, we were very careful about the artwork, which came out so nice too. So we're trying to make this album like an art.
Like an art piece and a classic.
Exactly.
And a classic. That's exactly what you're doing.
Definitely.
And so they can go to your website to, how are people able to order the limited edition in vinyl?
They can go to my website, pedritomartinezmusic.com. They also can click the link in my bio on Instagram, and it's gonna, you know, send them directly to the website. So those.
Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break, and you're gonna play a little something for us, right? What are you gonna play for us?
What I want to play for you is like what we call it, the rumba pattern.
The rumba pattern. Espérate, let me throw the break, and then we're gonna come back, and then you're gonna do the rumba pattern. Oh my gosh, you guys don't go anywhere, okay? We have to take a quick break, but when we return, Pedro Martínez, he's gonna play the rumba pattern, right?
Yeah. El patrón de la rumba.
El patrón de la rumba, no te vayas. So welcome back, because here now to perform Yo Si Quiero from his new album, Acertijos Riddles. Please welcome the one and only Pedrito Martínez.
puedo ser un hombre romántico y decirte cosas lindísimas, llevarte a cenar, eso es lo clásico, pero te voy a ser sincero, prefiero disfrutar la vida y hacerte el amor una y otra vez. Por favor, tú no me pidas lo que ya te di una vez. Sabes lo que quiero sin decírtelo. Una niña mala con cara de buena. Apaga tu teléfono y guarda el reloj. Nada se gana con pena. Yo sí quiero estar contigo, pero que no sea nada serio. No quiero enamorarme por cada con tú. Te vas y me dejas en eso. Kenny Garrett. Yo puedo ser un hombre romántico y decirte cosas lindísimas, llevarte a cenar, eso es lo clásico, pero te voy a ser sincero, prefiero disfrutar la vida y hacerte el amor una y otra vez. Por favor, tú no me pidas lo que ya te di una vez. Tú sabes lo que quiero sin decírtelo. Una niña mala con cara de buena. Apaga tu teléfono y guarda el reloj, que nada se gana con pena. Yo sí quiero estar contigo, pero que no sea nada serio. No quiero enamorarme por tratar con tú. Te vas y me dejas en eso. Tú sabes lo que quiero sin decírtelo. Una niña mala con cara de buena. Apaga tu teléfono y guarda el reloj, que nada se gana con pena. Que sí quiero estar contigo, pero que no sea nada serio. Quiero enamorarme por sacar con tú. Que más si me dejas en eso. Yo sí quiero estar contigo, pero que no sea nada serio. Vengo preparado para amar. No digas ahora. Yo sí quiero estar contigo.
how we dance rumba en la silla. I hope you guys enjoyed. For more on Pedrito Martinez's new album, Acertijo, Riddles, available worldwide beginning March 19th. Please visit PedritoMartinezMusic.com and on Instagram at Pedrito Martinez Music. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests, for you viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the replay broadcast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin from all of us here at Open. The universe provide, paz, prosperity, y amor. Adios.